Hey there, if you are an English learner and you want to improve your pronunciation and improve your accent, you have come to the right place. My name is Jessie. I'm an American accent coach and I live in Canada, and my job is to help you improve your pronunciation and, if you want, reduce your foreign accent. So today it's going to be a question and answer period. So if you have any questions, ask them. I have YouTube happening. I have TikTok happening. YouTube has priority when it comes to questions. But if I see questions on TikTok and I do not have any here on YouTube, TikTok's going to have questions and I'll answer them. So I'm going to start off with a Q&A, question and answer period, because it's going to be more of a relaxed live. And if you have any questions, TikTok, ask them. I want to know if you have any questions. I don't see any questions yet, so I'm just going to do a quick, I'm going to answer a question I've gotten in the past. So, again, if you have any questions, ask them and I will check it out after. The first one is, what's the number one mistake people make when improving their accent? So they're learning English, and let's say they want to have more of an American or a Canadian accent. The number one mistake I often see in my clients, in my followers, is that they will learn how to pronounce a sound. Let's say it is the TH sound. Okay. For you guys who have followed me a long enough time, you'll know that the TH, you need to put your tongue between your teeth, right? So, example, with. There's no vibration in the throat, tongue is between your teeth. Or if it's voiced, like in those, the tongue between your teeth, vibration in your throat. So it happens, it happens very often that an English learner will know how to properly and correctly pronounce a sound, but when they are speaking with people, they go back to having their foreign pronunciation. So maybe they're saying dis and dat instead of this and that. Maybe they're saying with teeth as an S instead of saying with teeth. Um, that happens. So if you guys have seen my video about why, no, it's the reality of being advanced in your accent reduction journey. And I talk about how you have sounds that you do not know how to pronounce, like let's say an American, if that's your target accent, you learn how to pronounce it. But it's not until you make it a habit and it becomes more natural, it becomes more muscle memory, that it becomes a part of your day-to-day accent. So if this is your problem, where you say, I know how to pronounce it, but when I speak in English with friends, with coworkers, with other people, I mispronounce it. How to fix that? B, the answer. So if you want to fix that, what you need to do is you need to practice that sound daily. If you can do a good 5 to 15 minutes a day practicing words with that sound, practicing sentences with that sound, you're going to build that muscle memory. So instead of saying this is the time, you'll start saying this is the time. This is the tooth. So the words that you know that you mispronounce or that have the sound that you mispronounce, just keep on repeating it and practicing it every day. It seems really boring. I know you may not even want to do that, but if your desire is to have more of an American accent, it's those boring, mundane, like practices of like practicing it, those tasks of like just practicing that sound over and over and over and over again until you don't even have to think about it and you pronounce it correctly. So if you struggle with that, you know how to pronounce a sound correctly, but you don't always in day-to-day conversation practice that sound. Practice. And then I'm going to share with you a second mistake because it goes hand in hand. It goes together. Second mistake is that people will practice the sound that they're working on, but they're mispronouncing it. So, for example, with the short I sound, eh, and the long E sound, e, they might think they're saying sheet, but they're actually saying shit, right? They might think that they're saying beach, but they're actually saying bitch, right? So, just that one sound can make it a vulgar word, right? So, if you are practicing a sound and you are trying to make it a habit, make sure you're pronouncing it correctly. Get an accent coach, get a native speaker, somebody who really has already mastered the accent and the pronunciation that you want to have. And if you want to know my top 5 tips to accelerate your accent reduction journey and to start making lasting changes to your pronunciation and accent, comment top tips on YouTube and I will share with you the link to get my free guide with my top tips. So I see that there are some comments on YouTube. Oh, hello, it's Vitali, right? Vitali Slonov, I think. I think I said the name. You're welcome. Thanks for coming. If you have any questions, let me know. And hi, I'm happy that you're here. I'm going to check for questions on TikTok. If you have questions here on YouTube, let me know. I don't see any questions. I see a lot of people joining, sorry, I said joining. I need I need some practice with fluent English students. Where can I find them? Where can you find people to practice English? You have a few you have a few options. If you want to practice your English, you can go to different apps or websites where there are language exchange partners. I have a whole website, or not website, a whole video on getting language partners, how to find them. There might be people in your city that might be looking for, oh, I got a little sticker. There might be people in your city that actually speak English and are foreigners and might want to share with you English, help you with English, and then learn your native language. That happens. There's also this app that I use. It's in the description of my YouTube videos. I don't know if I have it in my link in bio on TikTok, but it's an AI chatbot partner. I use that for not really for my French, more for my Spanish, a little bit for my Ukrainian, because I want to practice with somebody who will correct me. Because not everyone corrects you, but this AI bot corrects you and it gives you instant feedback and it's always ready. Because when I have personally looked for language partners, it just feels like a lot of work, a lot of energy to book a time. Does this time work for you? The time difference, and then sometimes people don't come. I like, I like, I like my app. So, thank you. I see another thing. I like your smile. Thank you. That's kind. We'll check for any other questions. I don't see any on YouTube, but I see a lot of things happening on TikTok. So Lal Zaman says, "How are you?" I'm good. How are you? Um, English pronunciation. Oh, that's AI. Your hair is really long. Yeah, it's growing. It's growing long. Hi. Hello, hello. Jamal, you said top tips. I don't have the link in bio on TikTok, but if you go to at least if you go to my recent YouTube videos and you comment top tips, even on the replay, I will send you the link to get my free guide. So hi, Tita. Good morning, Kevin. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I want to improve my pronunciation and grammar practice. Same thing with the AI partner. You can practice with them. You can practice with other native speakers. I also do offer conversation and feedback sessions. So if that is something that interests you, check out my website and you can definitely book a time. But I know not everyone wants to do that, and that's okay. It's not for everyone. Hmm. Hi, Luis Coronado. Hello, where are you from? Spanish-speaking country, I think. Good. I'm so happy that I got your name right. I was trying really hard. I know like a little bit of Cyrillic, like what generally each symbol letter sounds like. So I tried. All right, Rachel says, I'm just watching you because I want to speak English. This is perfect because you can listen to me and it helps you understand more. And while you're listening to me, you can even decide to repeat the things I say. You can even shadow while you're listening. That's a really good way to practice your pronunciation. Also, in my future lives, in my future lives, I might, I might open it up to my probably email subscribers. Some of my email subscribers that would like to like have a one-on-one conversation with me. So like I would have the live here, I would have a Zoom with them. So nobody would see that person, but they'd be able to listen. And then like I can give feedback. So like a free live conversation and then people can listen in. Ah, okay. I see a really good question. Vitali, tell me, the English that you've learned, is it more British? Because the fact that I see, the fact that I see an R, it makes me think maybe it's British, or is it American? The English that I speak is North American. I'll say an American accent, even though I'm technically Canadian. Um, Let me know. I'm going to pronounce it for you though. Hmm, you got me thinking. Okay, so I got a question asking if there's like an R in the middle. I don't know if it's a British thing. I would say thaw out, thaw out. Do I pronounce it W? No, I wouldn't pronounce it W. Thaw out. So you can just pretend that there's no W. Thaw out. And what does that mean? It means to, I don't know if this is the correct, I don't even know if this word exists, but unfreeze. My husband says unfreeze. When you have something in the freezer and you want it to, I guess, warm up and you'll get more like fridge temperature or room temperature, we would thaw something out to like unfreeze it. We would freeze something and then we would thaw it out. Okay. Thaw out, thaw out. Can even sound like it connects, like when we're talking in a sentence, like thaw out that. Oh, that sounds weird, doesn't it? Thaw out, thaw out. I kind of like stop there. Thaw out. It's a good question. So ma'am, I'm from Bangladesh. Do you know, I know of Bangladesh, but I don't know a lot about it. Man, I think the intrusive R, see, that's why I was wondering. I'm wondering if the intrusive R is a British thing. I think I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT. I am gonna ask ChatGPT. 1 second, I'm just gonna prepare this. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen. Defrost. Yes, that's the word. You're really good in English. I love it. Defrost is the right word, not unfreeze. Like my husband says, my husband is English as a second language. Defrost, defrost, defrost. All right, let's go to ChatGPT. I'm going to share my screen here on YouTube. For the word, for the thaw out, is there an intrusive R? And I also have a guide that I share with my email subscribers. Oops. You guys don't see it, do you? Are you still seeing me on the live? Yeah. I do have a ChatGPT guide. So if you want to see the guide, you want to have the link to get my free guide, I have a free ChatGPT guide. I use ChatGPT for so many things, and it's really helpful for English. I'm gonna guess that they're gonna say yes for British. Um, oh, I guess not. So thaw out. Okay, yeah. That's what I thought. In some non-rhotic accents, like the British RP, I don't know what RP means. They might insert an R, but in American English, it's without an R, which is what I said. Good. I like when ChatGPT agrees. I wasn't sure. So yeah, for American English, which is the English that I speak, we do not add the intrusive R. Thaw out, thaw out. Can you thaw out the, the fish? Yeah, there we go. I'm hoping that helps. I'm hoping that helps. Good. So I'm seeing a lot of questions on TikTok. So how to transition smoothly from the two TH sounds to the S or Z. Mm. Ooh, it's a good question because sometimes we will not pronounce the TH. So let me share with you something. An example where this happens. So like months, okay? There's a consonant, there's three different consonant sounds. The S, okay? The S, TH, and the N. When this happens, sometimes when there's three consonants, the middle one we just won't really pronounce. We can. It sounds really, really, really. It's not easy, right? So you could pronounce the T, say months, but even for me, it sounds really weird. I'll say months. So it's like MUNS, months, no TH. So I don't know if that's what you mean. If you have another example, I can share with you how I say it, and that can give you an idea. But sometimes, especially if there's like three consonants in a row, you might not pronounce the middle one because we're lazy. No, we work smarter, not harder. So I was driving and I didn't know why my voice message came out in Chinese. Oh, I don't know what that was about. Sorry, that might have been out of context. Yes, thank you. What is its name? I'm sorry, I don't hear that. I don't really understand what that was asking. Next question. What is, I want to see, thank you. You're very welcome. If you have any other questions, YouTube, ask. You guys have priority. But in the meantime, I will be talking to TikTok. So which language is the hardest in the world? I think it depends what your first language is. So usually what makes a language hard is because it's so different from your own language. So for example, I speak English and French. So Spanish is easier for me than if I spoke Chinese. I think for a lot of English speakers, I think Chinese is going to be the most difficult, one of the most difficult languages, or is it Japanese? It's like, because they're so different. So it depends on which language you're starting with. You like the way I explain. I'm so happy. And Chan Chi says, hello from Panama. Hola, Panama! Or Panama, sorry, I said it wrong. Mhm. I live in Canada. My English so bad. My English is so bad. And no, I understand you. That's perfect. And Kevin, is your first language French or are you an immigrant living in Canada? Because there are French Canadians and there are English Canadians. Like I live in the province of Quebec. The first language here is French, but I'm from English Canada. Okay. Estefania, hola. I understand English, but it's hard to speak. I freeze. Rachel, that's normal. That's normal. My advice would be to just practice, just continue to practice with people who are learning English, but also practicing with people who speak English because it's important to get that proper input, right? To hear correct English. But it's normal. The reason why you freeze is because you're not used to it. It's not a habit yet. And maybe a little bit of fear. Maybe you're scared, and that's normal if it's something that you're not used to. Right. I like when I get questions. It's amazing. Thank you so much. Um, mhm. Oh, I'm blessed to have my husband. Which books are good to improve English language, to improve your English? Um, I'm going to share with you something that might be controversial. I'm not an English teacher. People think that I'm an English teacher. So when I say my philosophy about learning English, sometimes people get mad and upset. But I I'm I don't really believe in studying grammar. I don't believe in studying vocabulary. I um I believe that it's all about playing in the language, getting used to the language, living in the language. So, which books are good to improve English? I would say find a book that talks about things that you like, that you enjoy, that you're passionate about. Because when you get books that are in English, you're basically immersing yourself in it. You're seeing words in context. You're seeing how words and sentences are supposed to look, and your brain will start to like take it in. So I would say just use a book that interests you. Like if you like sci-fi books, get sci-fi books. If you like books on psychology, I love psychology. I'll get psychology books in, French and Spanish. And yeah, just anything that interests you. But I will show with you. I will show with you. I will share with you um, a book that I do recommend when it comes to mastering the American accent. Um, because if you're going to, try to improve your accent, it's going to be a good idea to get a book that can help with that. So, a book that I really like is Mastering the American Accent with Lisa, and it talks about all sorts of stuff. I always link it in most of my videos, I think. It talks about the different sounds in American English. It talks about, different problematic consonants, syllable stress, word stress, intonation, sound like a true native speaker. There's also, like at the end, there's like I don't know if you can see this, but a native language guide. So if you speak German or an Indian language or like Vietnamese, it'll say like different sounds that might be difficult for you. So, I mean, this is a really good book. There are some like mistakes in it, I've noticed, like typos, but it's honestly my go-to book when it comes to promoting a book that English learners can check out. So I personally really like it. Is it pink? Is what pink? The AI app name. So I'm actually an affiliate. So, disclaimer, it's not any extra cost to you, but I do get a commission for anyone who uses my link. I'll give you the name of it. It's langotalk, but I do have a referral link in bio, and I should have a referral link in the description of a YouTube video. But that is the AI app name where you can chat with bots. I made two videos on YouTube about this. So, one video, I talk about how to use it. I talk about how important it is to put the feedback function on so that when you chat with the bot, whenever you make mistakes, it will correct you. So, if you say, "Oh, I have 20 years," when you're trying to say, "I'm 20 years old," it'll say, "It's not have, it's to be." So, I am 20 or I am 20 years old. So, it corrects you. So, learn how to put like watch my video, watch it, and you'll know how to really get used to it. I got another question. I think this is like something that you'll hear even English speakers argue over. I kind of I think I saw this the other day, but I didn't answer it. I'm sorry. Some people will say it's pecan. Some people say it's pecans. So pecan, pecan. What is it? If ask an English speaker and they will give you a different answer. So pecans, pecans. I think I say pecans. I think I say pecans. That's a good question. Indoor. It's just about practice. Ah, Diane, good afternoon. Rochelle says, I love watching cartoon movies and YouTube. Yes, me too. I watch Peppa Pig in Ukrainian. Yeah. And it improves your English speaking. I know, and it's so simple. Like if you are learning a language, especially if you have a lower level, kids shows, kids cartoons are so great because they're simple, they're slower, and there's less like I don't know, it's just easier to understand. Good. Okay, this is another one. I think in British English, okay, I'm answering a question on YouTube. So I have somebody asking about, and write it down. I know about this as like a TV show, but the question is there like an intrusive R? In American English, we don't pronounce an R. So I would say law and order. Okay. If you did it like, if I pronounce it really carefully, law and order. But in connected speech and in casual speech, you'll hear the D will go away. And I would say more like law and order. Law and order. I'm trying to let you guys see it without the glare. Law and order. Law and order. That's what I say. Law and order. Law and order. I hope that helps. And Vitali, if you have any other questions, ask me. I'm here to help. I'm caught up in the questions. No more questions for now. I mean, ask more if you have them, but I am caught up, so I'm just gonna law and order. Yeah, it sounds like that. No, sorry, I don't let people join my lives. I might in the future allow people to meet me on Zoom during a live, but not like on my screen, if that makes sense. Okay, so if I don't see any questions for the next little bit, I have another question I'm going to answer. Good, let's go. Again, ask your questions if you have them. I'm there to answer them after I've already answered this one. So, question people ask, why do I sound choppy or robotic when I speak English? This is a question that a lot of people ask. Why do I not sound natural? There's a few reasons for this. One, it could just be you just need to get comfortable, but mainly I would say that you need to learn about connected speech. There's a certain way that English speakers will connect their words. They do not sound like this. They sound like this. They sound like this. This whole sentence almost sounds like it's a full word. I did not stop in between words. I didn't stop in between words. I didn't stop in between words. They all kind of go together and they connect, and that's something that it's important to learn if you want to sound more natural. We don't talk like this. We talk like this. There's a few different things that you can learn about connected speech. One is how the words connect, so that when they're together in a sentence, they stick together in a sense. But you have to be careful. And also learning how there are sounds that change when they're in a sentence. And there's also sounds that will be added and removed out of different words when they're in a sentence. So I've shared this in my past video, but I'm gonna put this here. Oop, that does not work at all. Um, There we go. So I'm actually creating a course for people who have the same problem. So they understand English in class, right? In English class, they're like, I understand, I can speak. But when natives speak fast, okay, I'm putting in quotation marks, fast, they don't understand. They may say that Netflix is impossible. I don't understand coworkers. Coworkers speak too fast. And just native speakers don't sound like their teacher. It's not that they're bad at English, they're just missing a puzzle piece. And the truth is, classroom English does not sound like real English usually. Like I mentioned, natives connect words, drop sounds, change sounds. We do things that, I guess, make things easier. And that's why English sounds fast. That is why English sounds so fast. We put it together. That's why English feels so fast. We put it together. Just let it glide together. And once you know these hidden rules, just it makes sense. So if you want to finally understand natives at full speed, hear English as it's actually spoken and sound more natural yourself, I want you guys to know that I am introducing a new beta program, Connected Speech Secrets. And this will eventually be a mini reference course that you can finish in a weekend because I want you to be able to learn efficiently. And it's going to be self-study. But while I am building it, I'm going to create a Facebook group. I did actually. And I'm going to let you guys hang out with me in the Facebook group. We're going to have weekly Zooms. It says 4 weeks, but it's going to be 5. Lessons as they're created, and we're going to practice connected speech together. I'm going to answer any of your questions, and I'm going to build the course. So right now I kind of have some ideas of what I think the course should be, but once you guys become founding members, beta members, I will find out what you really need. So if you want a spot, you want to save your spot, join the waitlist down below in the description of this video. But I want to stop, promoting this because I want to talk to you guys. But that's one of the reasons why people sound choppy in English or robotic, because they haven't learned about connected speech. Okay. Is it true that Americans don't pronounce the G while speaking words that end in ing? This is a really good question. I'm actually going to write this down, that once I stop this live, I'm going to add the link to a video that I think you'll like, where I compare the N sound and the ing sound, because that is something that is hard for some people to master, but once they understand what the problem is or how to pronounce it, it gets easier. Okay. So in the ing ending, we do not pronounce the G. We don't go g. We don't say g, or what? We don't say j because there's a soft G and a hard G. I'm going to share with you something. What are some words we can do? These words right here. The N. Can you guys see? My tongue is touching here. So if I say sin, you guys can do the same thing as me. That's the N. For the ing, you can see that my tongue doesn't actually touch ing. It's kind of like instead of the N, like I don't have my fake teeth with me right now. But with the N, it touches here. You can see it. The N. With the ing, you can see that my tongue doesn't touch. It kind of spreads out and it goes up. Ing. So sin, sing. Then remember, the TH is a really hard sound for a lot of people. tongue between your teeth, no vibration. Thin. You see? Thin. And then the ing. Ing. I can open my mouth all the way and you'll see that my tongue doesn't touch the top. Ing. Ing. Thing. Okay? There's no G. There's a but there's not a g. There's not a j. Okay? Or j. Does that answer your question? I don't have the link on me right now, but I'm going to add in the description of this YouTube video the link between the n sound and the ng sound. And I go into like eng, ing, eng, right? Like all the different kind of ing or the ngs, the ng sounds. Or I work on this symbol. That's the phonetic symbol of the ng. Right? So like sang, sing, sung. I'm hoping that helps. Let's see. Anything else for questions? Okay, Meg, hi, I have a question. How can I work on a Canadian, so a Canadian accent? Meg, what's your first language? I'm just curious. When people ask that, I'm like, are they French Canadian or are they an immigrant in Canada? Meg, where are you from? I'm Canadian. Just so you know, I am Canadian. So if you follow me on TikTok, more so YouTube is like my best stuff. YouTube, Facebook, American accent training with Jess. You can practice your accent with me. I am Canadian. I do say American accent training because, the general American, I speak like an American, even though, different regions, people speak differently. But yeah, just practice, listen to native speakers who have the accent that you want. You can, I am an accent coach, so sometimes people will schedule one-on-ones with me. It could be a conversation and feedback. It could be accent training. I offer those two services. But yeah, you can get an accent coach. You could also just, hang out with more people that speak English as a first language and, try to learn from them and whatnot. So I want to go to the stage. Sorry, nobody's here. I'm not inviting people up to the stage. My English is not bad, but I have a different accent. There should be an between have and different. Yeah, I'm curious what your accent is. As I scroll, I'm hoping that I see it. Hello, I can finally meet you. Yes, I'm happy. And I just did some connected speech stuff that I think I'm going to bring to your attention. What did I say? I finally met you. Okay, I said this. I finally met the T, right? You, it's a Y. Very often. Doesn't always happen, but you'll hear in connected speech because it ends with the T sound, starts with a Y sound, it will turn into a ch sound. So I said, I finally met you. Met you. Met you. Okay, so this is another thing that will help you understand native speakers as well as help you learn how to speak more like a native speaker. So this is an example of connected speech and how sounds change, right? I didn't say met you. You can. It's not bad. But you'll hear this often. I met you, right? Okay. Again, if you have any questions, ask. Hindi immigration or from India. Okay. Um, hmm. Yeah, Meg, I don't know. I mean, if you're interested, I do offer one-on-one sessions, but I also have a few videos, I think, that help with sounds that people who speak Indian languages might mispronounce. So feel free to check out my YouTube channel. That the fox. Canada. Where are you, Dad the Fox? Hello, I'm from Brazil, Rio de Janeiro. Brazil. Okay, you're Brazilian Canadian. Welcome. Great. The entire language is a tongue twister. Yes, it is. It is. Um, Hi, Canadian accents sound like an American. So, does the American accent sound like the Canadian accent? Um, I would say generally yes. There are some differences in different regions. So, for example, um, I would say my accent is fairly neutral, like the general American accent. I don't, there's just one sound that, how do I say this? The general American accent, would I say it's invented? I don't know if that's the right word, but like nobody speaks the general American accent in a certain region. Like it's not regional, like, oh, in this state, they speak the general with the general American accent. It's like a standard, when I say standardized, like linguists will say, okay, this is the general American accent, but no speaker automatically says all the sounds. They have different variations of the sounds. Like, for example, how my personal accent is different from the American accent is I'll say ah instead of, I think they say ah. Like, for example, in the word, instead of saying, I might say this wrong. I think in the general American accent, it's copy instead of copy. I say ah. So that's one of the ways that my accent is a little bit different than the general American accent, but nobody has the general American accent, but they can train themselves to have it. So back to the question. The American accent, general American accent, nobody truly speaks it and grows up speaking it, like exactly every sound. But in the United States, there's different accents, right? There's some that are like more general, right? They're kind of like less unique. Then there's some that are really unique, like in Texas. In Texas, they talk like this sometimes. I might be exaggerating and incorrectly pronouncing it, but in the South, they'll have more of a twang when they talk. Okay. Sorry if there's any Southern Americans here. And then there's people like in Boston, they'll have a little bit of a different accent. In New York, you'll hear a little bit of a different accent, right? But generally speaking, I would say Americans and Canadians have, generally speaking, very similar accent. So I'm Canadian. I do call myself, or I call my like, YouTube channels and stuff like that, American accent training, because that's what people are looking for, and it's pretty similar. All right, makes sense. I'll be in touch with you. I will message you. I am looking for a coach. Awesome. That's good. It's amazing. The best way to contact me though is on Instagram. So Instagram, American Accent Training with Jess on Instagram, but I will try to look at my messages. What's considered a native speaker? I would say people who grew up speaking a language. That's what I would say, consider a native speaker. But there's people who call themselves a native English speaker, and for me, they have a really thick accent, you know, that doesn't align with like, North America or Australia or whatnot. So I think there might be some subjectivity to that. I'm so glad you love my videos. Thank you. Uh, do you like, uh, I'm, do you like missionary on this or on the side? I'm not sure if I understand. Sorry. Hi, Jose Correa English says, hi, I like your classes, accent classes. Gracias. Hola, de Canadá. Estoy muy feliz que te guste, que te guste. ¿Te gustan mis clases? ¿Te gustan? I'm doing good. How are you? Hello from Thailand. I can't see any difference between American and Canadian English. I don't. And no, sorry, it's hard for me to talk and look at different things. I lived in a tourist place in the province of Quebec. Okay, I'm not going to get into too much details, but I lived in a touristic place where the province in Canada spoke French. So I'm an English speaker, and I was an English speaker living in the touristic region. And I had, at least once, Americans from the United States would come as tourists, as guests in the store I worked at. And I've had them say, "Whoa, you speak American." By American, they mean English, and just like them. So there were Americans that would say that I spoke American English like them. So they don't, I guess some of them don't see the difference between my accent and theirs. I don't think there's a big accent difference. There are some commenters that say that they're American and they say that I don't, but they might also be from another place. Good morning from Kingston, Ontario. That's awesome. You're from Colombia and currently learning English. Amazing. Colombia. Tapping my nose. Montreal. It's amazing. Okay, I'm actually learning Spanish, so that's really awesome. So I'm caught up on the comments here on YouTube. That's awesome. Good morning from Vancouver. Amazing. A lot of you guys are from like Brazil and Canada. I'm seeing a lot of that. Good. Kurdistan. Kurdistan. It's a cool place. Sounds like a cool place. Where are you from in Canada? I am from Saskatchewan. I'm living in Quebec. So I'm from an English part in Canada, English part of Canada, sorry. And yeah, I'm living the French part of Canada. Okay, you're from Alberta. Is your first language English? Okay. Are you a teacher? I'm an English coach, accent coach. I don't know if I'd say teacher though. I'm curious. I don't know what that flag is though. Edwin, what is that flag? I don't know my flags like I should. Okay, I'm gonna answer one question. Before I look at the other questions here, I'm just gonna let the questions accumulate on YouTube. All right, and then I'll come back to it. So a question I get often. Actually, I get it fairly often. Yeah, on my lives, my students, my clients. Why can't I understand native speakers when they talk fast? So I've talked about this. Actually, I've talked about this 20 minutes ago. That's okay. Very often, it's not because they are speaking fast. It's usually because they are speaking like using connected speech. And I'm going to share with you an example. I did this in one of my past TikToks. Okay. There we go. Let's say somebody, an English speaker, says this. In school, you probably learned, I wanted her with H and H to call him. Okay. There's things that happen in connected speech. In American English, I'm going to speak to that because that's what I speak. The T will kind of disappear. It'll turn into wanted. Okay. So if you are listening for wanted and you hear wanted, that might be confusing. Okay. Next, when it comes to like him, her, them, sometimes there'll be like a reduction. Like you might not hear the H here. So you might hear I wanted her, right? So if you're listening for I wanted her and you hear I wanted her, be like, what? What? And then because there is a consonant followed by a vowel sound, it's der, wanted her. I wanted her. And you might have learned that this is two, like 1, 2. In connected speech, it will very often turn into ta. Okay? Ta. Ta. It's reduced to ta. So if you're listening for to and you hear ta, you're like, what's ta? To call, again, we're going to get rid of the H. This does not always happen, but it can happen, okay? So call him, call him. So you're listening for, I wanted her to call him. You'll hear a native speaker very often say, I wanted him, or sorry, I wanted her to call him, to call him. I wanted her to call him, right? That could be confusing. So one of the reasons English speakers do not understand native speakers is because we change the sounds of words. We add sounds, we get rid of sounds. Another example. Um, okay, another one. Let's say someone's like, they need you to leave. It's kind of rude, but or it's very direct. I need you to go. This word, it ends with a d sound. I'm trying to write while we're doing this, and it starts with a y sound. This can turn into, does anyone know? I'm actually not looking at the up-to-date comments on TikTok, so I'm going to catch up later. So the D and the Y could turn into Jew. So instead of I need you, it can turn into I need you. I need you to turns into ta, to go. I need you to go. I need you to go. So if you are an English learner and you're listening for need you and you hear need you, like need you, what's that? It's need you put together. The sound in the middle changes. So that's just an example of why it's difficult to understand native speakers when they speak fast. They put things together. Like I mentioned, we do not separate our words, which will turn into our words in connected speech very often. So that's one of the reasons it's difficult to understand native speakers when they speak fast. And if you want to join my course, or if you want to study the differences and how normal or classroom English is different than normal English, spoken English by natives, check out my course, Connected Speech Secrets. I talk all about those secrets so that you can understand native speakers better and speak more like a native speaker. All right, good morning. How are you? I'm good. How are you? Brazilian living in Vancouver. That's really cool. Really cool. From Vancouver. I never know how to write Saskatchewan. It's such a hard, it's a very hard province to write down or to read. I'm actually going to write it on my board here. So this is the province that I'm from. I think even a lot of Canadians don't know how to write it. This is how it's written. Saskatchewan, Saskatchewan. So you're not the only one that cannot say it. Good morning from Mauritiana. Mauritiana, is that how you say it? Do you speak French? Yes, I speak French. I'm from Chad, now in Canada. Cool, Chad in Africa, right? Do you speak French? Yes, I do. Hi, I'm new here. I'm from the Philippines, living in Ontario. I'm glad to see your videos. Thank you. Oh my goodness, I knew some Tagalog. Oh my goodness. I knew how to say thank you and I totally forgot. Salamat. No, is it salamat? I think so. I clearly have not been practicing. I wanted you to keep going. What do you mean? keep going on why English learners don't understand native speakers. So I will probably be traveling to Canada in 4 to 5 years. Is it difficult to live there? Um, what do you mean by difficult? When it comes to the weather, there are certain provinces that are really cold. If you go really up north, I think there's like 6 months of sun, 6 months of night. Like, I wouldn't go there. On my YouTube channel, I actually have a video that if you're considering moving to Canada, here are some tips and things to consider. I talk about location, I talk about rent. Rent is like how much you pay per month for like like for an apartment. I believe in like Vancouver, I think you're going to be paying like $2,000, $3,000 just for like one bedroom, you know? That's a lot of money. Whereas in some cities, some provinces, you might be paying, $500, $600, $700 rather than 3,000. So I would say really watch that video and compare prices, what it costs to live in certain places. There's some places where you can use the bus system and it's good, it's effective. And there's some places where you need to buy a car. So that's another expense. I would say it's really hard to financially, I think it's getting really hard with since COVID. So it's just things to look up. Okay, Dylan says monitor is not proper English. Yeah, though you would not write monitor, but you're going to hear people talk like that. If you listen to, Spanish, or not Spanish, English, native speakers, native speakers in English. Do, 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 do. Oh, thank you. Woohoo, I'm getting gifts. Thank you. Um, Alice, you said, what's the difference between these is? It's these, no S at the end, and those. These are something that's close. Those are something that's far. Um, so these, I have these markers in my hands, and then I have markers there. I could say those are other markers far away from me. I'm hoping that helps. I normally don't talk about grammar. I'm more about like accent and pronunciation and stuff. Don't you have people on your panel? I'm not doing lives with people. Okay. I'm not going to answer any more grammar questions, okay? Salamat. Yeah, that's right. You're in New Brunswick. I am in Quebec. So we're close. I think that's what you mean by NB. But you might be like Nebraska too. Might be. I don't know if you're giving me provinces or states when you say NB. How do you know Tagalog? I used to work in a restaurant and a lot of the cooks were Filipino. So I learned things like salamat bini bini and other things that I forget. Okay, hello, people from Thailand. Ça va, oui, ça va, merci. 6 months of night. Yeah, I think so. I think like in Nunavut, it's like that. It's just like snow. Snow and yeah, I think I'd be really depressed. Um, allô, ça me fait plaisir, Alice. C'est comme celle-là, celle ici. These, those. Okay, now TikTok's making me prove that I'm a person. Oh yeah. Hello, Jessie. Can I get your email, please? Is it for like business inquiries and stuff like that? If you want to talk to me about one-on-one sessions, you can also talk to me on Instagram, but I will most likely direct you to my website. So my Instagram, yeah, my Instagram is American. I'm actually writing this down too. Accent training with Jess. And I'm just starting September, that's today. I am just starting to do one-on-ones. So I'm accepting new clients, but I don't know how many yet. So American Accent Training with Jess. That's my Instagram. You send me a message on Instagram, like if you're interested in courses or something. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna like chat a lot on my Instagram. But for quick business questions or like recommendations, I can definitely ask you. Where are you from? I'm from Saskatchewan, Canada. Bonjour, Nowelski. Yeah, New Brunswick, Fredericton. Okay. I wasn't sure because sometimes people will like be from the United States and they'll tell me where they're from. like like MN, I think that's Minnesota. Like I don't know the abbreviations for like states. Um uh Bryce Duvalier. C'est-tu Bryce Duvalier or is it Duvalier? But anyways, you know what? I can actually give you my email. Okay. Yeah, no, I think that's it. It's new. Jesse at American Accent Training with Jess.com. That would be my email. I normally just do like business stuff, uh, stuff that like if I had a secretary, they would be able to answer kind of thing. So how long does it take to progress from oops, oops, B2 to B or to C1? Um, I personally don't really. That's a good question. It's a really good question. I'm not really, how do I say this? I'm not really an English teacher. I have, however, done research on this for me learning other languages. I think it depends on one, what's your first language? Because if your first language is Chinese versus like French or something that's, similar, it would take less long. And it's measured in hours rather than years because you can spend like a year per week. That's 52 hours in a week, or you can like live somewhere. You know what I mean? So I would say it depends. I don't have a full answer for you, but I'm sure if you ask ChatGPT, you said, hey, my first language is this. How long does it take to progress from B2 to C1? And it'll say how many hours, I think it should, or should give you resources. And then also learn what you need to learn because just because you spend an extra like 200, 300 hours doesn't mean that you will like, you know, you'll learn what you need to learn. There's certain like curriculum as far as I'm concerned. Bonjour, je veux apprendre la langue anglaise. C'est parfait, vous êtes à la bonne place. It's perfect. Um, je suis aussi sur YouTube. Je pense que YouTube, c'est meilleur parce que j'ai plus de vidéos. Fait que American Accent Training with Jess. Ça, c'est le nom de ma chaîne YouTube. Nunavut's so nice. I'll never go there then. I could be wrong about Nunavut, but I'm pretty sure it's like dark all the time. Okay, Bryce, yeah. Sorry, you don't have Instagram. So yeah, Jesse at American Accent Training with Jess.com. Again, more business related, not really like, hey, do you want to chat? Um, things that can help you, things that can like answer your questions. Can you tell us the provinces in Canada? Yeah. Are you in Quebec? Yeah, I mean, I'll probably forget some of them, but I pretty much know them. Like British Columbia. Like if you go British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, Quebec, um, New Brunswick and all that. Where's Quebec? Quebec is, uh, if you look at Canada like this, just like the bottom half and then the top half. It's in the bottom half. So I'm mirror image right now. So I'm just, yeah. So here we have like British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan is a rectangle. It's not really straight. Manitoba, Ontario, right, Hudson Bay, and then Quebec, just like there. It's the French part of Canada. Hola, Marcelara. I actually have issues with the accents, and you guys talk so fast. Yeah, it's all about practice, honestly, just practice. May I know about lifestyle in Canada? If you have specific questions about lifestyle in Canada, I can answer it. I think everyone has their own lifestyle in a sense, so I think it depends on big city, small city, and stuff like that. Vitali, yes, Saskatchewan. Mhm. And Van Long, hi. Um, okay, thanks for answering my questions, Jess. Much appreciated. Do you save your lives, by the way? Good job on the BTW, by the way. Yes, normally I do, and I plan to on YouTube, not Facebook, not where am I? Not on TikTok. But yeah, if you are, yeah, you're on YouTube. I generally save them, and you can watch my past lives too. And yeah, good question. Sorry, I just saw that comment now, 10 minutes later. Hello, good to be here. I'm happy you're here. Reflections. What is the best program to study in Toronto with a good job? You mean to get a good job or that you already have a good job? I would say it's going to depend. I'm going to be completely honest here and say the job market has been, in my opinion, horrible since 2022. I think with COVID 2020, there was a lot of hiring. It was easier to get a job. I think it's because the government maybe like gave more funding to companies. I don't really know. But since then, it's been really difficult to find a job, which is kind of why I'm planning now to just teach online because it's hard to find a job. So I would say do your research, um, do what you like, do your job like market research. Because I'll tell you, I even have a friend who is from Saskatchewan. It's a province in Canada. They studied in Ontario, but they moved back to Saskatchewan because they could find a job that paid more in what they studied. So do your job market research, know what the job availability is in each province, as well as what they pay. Because maybe in Toronto, you might get paid twice or three times more in another province, but maybe not. It's all about research. Yeah, sorry, it's really bad. Like I wish I had the answer, but I don't. You forgot New Brunswick, Nova Scotia. Yeah. I stopped. You're pretty good. I stopped naming provinces and territories and stuff. Northwest Territories and lifestyle in Canada is to pay more taxes. I think it depends on what country you're comparing it to be honest. But yeah, I hear a lot of people saying, like people who come to Canada, they'll say that they pay a lot of taxes. Because when you work in Canada, just a warning, a lot of your pay, or not a lot, a certain portion of your pay is going to be taken away before you get it. So let's say, I don't know, um, you might get paid 1,800. It's going to make that up for like a pay period, and you might only get 1,200 of it. Okay. So they might even take like a third out of it. It could be for taxes, it could be for union fees, it could be for insurance, whatever. They take a portion, the government or whoever, um, the company. But at the end of the year, when you do income tax, some immigrants don't know that they might one get more money back from the government, but they also might have to pay. So keep that in mind your first, few times, especially if you make a certain amount of money and you don't, or your deductions are lower for per pay, you might owe the government money come, February, March, April, May, or whenever you do your taxes. So be careful. Be careful. I'm Canadian. Yeah, I'm Canadian, not American, but I do say American accent coaching. Don't want to be mean whatsoever, but you have misspelled your greeting, learners, and also coach. Uh, thanks. I have not looked at it in a long time. Gracias, Gonzalez. Jose, I bet it's Jose Gonzalez. Gonzalez Amorio. Thank you. I have to look at it. I haven't touched my TikTok reading in a long time. And you said, I dream of speaking English one day like you do. It's possible. It's work, but I've seen people have a very, very good like accent and English, even though English is not their first language. Hello, Carmen. Yeah, more taxes again. Which is a common grammar. I'm not sure the question, but I don't really like talking about grammar. Kind of hate grammar. Hello there. Hello there. Mm, it's like Brazil. We've got to, but mas, but more and more, which are similar. Okay. Oh, mas and mais. I think I understand. Brazil. There's a lot of Brazilians here, and I don't know what time it is. Well, I guess you guys have a lot of time zones, but that's cool. Goodbye. Bye, guys. Um, okay, if you have any questions on Facebook or YouTube, let me know. You guys have priority, but I'm just answering questions from TikTok. Um, Hi, Melanie. A Filipina. We say Filipina, hey? We'd also Filipino. Filipina Bini Bini in Canada. What part of Canada do you live? I'm from Saskatchewan, but I live in the province of Quebec. So I'm from the English part of Canada. Now I'm living in the French part of Canada. Mostly Canadian. Yeah, you think Canadians hate grammar? That's so funny. But yeah, I'm Canadian and I don't really like teaching grammar. um, yeah, it's funny. Ontario, amazing. That's cool. If you guys have any questions, ask them. Again, comments from YouTube and Facebook are my priority. Regina, Saskatchewan here. Are you originally from Regina, Saskatchewan, or are you living there? That's cool. Yep, but they are the best. Canadians? It's kind of some. I had a little sticker on TikTok. My parents were born there. They speak French and English. Cool. Okay, Regina's my home. That's cool. Regina. That's cool. Regina, Saskatchewan. I love it. Okay, I'm going to go on to another question here. Again, I'll check this out. I'm going to scroll onto my TikTok so that when I come back, I can look at all the questions. If you guys have questions here on Facebook, on YouTube, ask them and I will check them. So, will you start live, like daily lives? That's a really good question. I'm kind of thinking about maybe starting to go live almost daily between Monday and Thursday. Um, my YouTube account is going to be possibly monetized in the next week. So I might be able to do that and it to be and for like it might be beneficial. Um, stay posted. Yep. Keep your eyes out. Watch my activity on YouTube. I might start going live daily. I don't know yet, but from Monday to Thursday. In the past, it was weekly. I might go daily, depending on how many clients I have, if I have time. I'm working on a course called Connected Speech Secrets to help English learners understand native speakers better. So when I have time, if it makes sense, I might start doing it daily. So that's a really good question. Quick question here. Common problem that I see with English learners that want to have an American accent. Okay. Because it's not bad to have an accent, like a foreign accent, because everyone has an accent. But for English learners that want to have an American accent, I hear them say, or I see this, where they'll say, I know how to pronounce a sound, right? Maybe the teach, or depending if it's voiced or voiceless. But when I'm speaking English in my daily life, maybe at work, with friends, English speaking friends, my accent comes back and gets stronger. Like when I practice, I can use the American sound. But when I speak English in conversation, my accent comes back and I mispronounce that sound or I pronounce it like, my foreign language, my first language. What can help? So when it comes to this, or whenever people I'm going to say mispronounce, I'm going to put it in quotation marks because, you know, it de- I don't want to say you're wrong, but if you're trying to have an American accent, you might be mispronouncing it. I ask myself a few questions. One, can the student or client actually pronounce that sound as an American sound? If yes, then they already know how to. And that's when I would ask the second question um, is it just a question of them reverting back to their old ways when they're comfortable or when there are certain circumstances? If the answer is yes, then what I recommend is that you start to practice that sound daily, because that's really how you're going to undo those, I'm going to say, incorrect habits and to retrain that muscle memory so that you can have correct pronunciation, more like an American accent, if that's what you want. So, what that looks like is, 5 to 15 minutes a day, practice that sound. Practice, common words that you use with that sound at work, with your family. For example, if it's the TH sound, because that's a very common sound that people struggle with, if you keep on saying duh instead of practice the tooth, or there is the tree. There are there are three trees, three trees, three trees. There are three, right? There are three. How are, I don't know, just constantly going over the same sounds and different word combinations and different sentences over and over and over. And while you're doing these 5 to 15 minute pronunciation drills, making sure that you are putting your tongue between your teeth if it's the TH sound, or that you're properly pronouncing these words, these sounds. And by doing that, you're retraining your muscle memory so that your habits, your muscle memory, your habits and pronunciation start to become more American. So that when you go back to work or daily conversation, that your native language is influencing your English less because you've created these strong muscles, these strong habits of pronouncing, the TH, if it's the TH, with the tongue between the teeth. But yeah, just practice, practice, practice. And again, I'm going to say if you want to learn how to accelerate your accent reduction journey and start making lasting changes with my free guide, my top 5 accent reduction tips. Type top tips in the YouTube comments, and I will share with you the link on how to get my free gift. But one of the tips that I do mention in this little guide is to constantly, every day, practice that sound. Practice that sound in words, practice that sound in phrases, especially high frequency phrases, so that naturally your body just knows what to do. Naturally, your tongue knows to go between your teeth if you're, saying, the TH sound. Um, but yeah, and something I'm going to mention as well. Um, I work mostly in the past, I worked mostly with Quebecers. So these are French Canadians. And very often, instead of saying they'll say like a D, duh, dare instead of there. Or they'll pronounce the T instead of the voiceless TH. So they'll say wit and boat instead of both and with. Um, and what I've noticed is that in the beginning, when they are unable to say the sound, they'll say wit, boat, dis, dat. And then as they correct that sound and make it muscle memory, they'll say it correctly, this, there, with, both. But what I also see happening that you need to be careful about, and what your coach can watch for and listen for is that sometimes, I find very often, that they start using the TH sound where it should be a T or a D. So instead of like, I don't know, teeth, they might say teeth, teeth. Or like instead of, I'm trying to think of things I've heard recently. Truth instead of truth, right? Truth. Where they'll put the TH where the T should be. So that's something to be careful for, be careful about is overcorrecting as well and start and like you might accidentally start inserting the correct sound, but in the wrong place. I've seen that as well. So something to listen for. I'm going to check my comments here to see if there nope, nothing on YouTube, but there are like 33 comments on YouTube, on TikTok. So, parlez-vous français? Yes, I do. Oui. C'est ma deuxième langue. Mais c'est clair que j'ai un accent, mais ouais, je parle. I suggest to discuss with group more benefits. What kind of benefits? Tell me more. Um, okay. Good question. How can I say, or how do I pronounce? I have one of those questions. Okay. This is a common problem that I hear with English speakers or English learners, sorry. So the were, okay, were, the L, world, the D, world. It feels funny, especially if you're not used to saying it. But the were, it's like were like in it's the same kind of sound. Were, whirl, world. Were, world. So I'm gonna do were, word, world. Were, word, world. Were, world. I'm sorry, I accidentally added an L. Were, word, world. World, word. World, world. That's hard. Good question. Feel free to watch the replay and practice that. It's going to be at the 1 hour and 23 minutes if you want to visit the replay. Are you a coach or a teacher? Coach. I'm an accent coach. I try to avoid the word teacher because people think of grammar. And it's not something I want to really teach on. Is Canadian English similar to American English? Yes. I mean, they're different, certain things that are different. Like slang words, there's some slang words that are the same, some not. I don't speak Brazilian Portuguese, sorry. Pronunciation is so important. If your pronunciation is bad, people don't understand you. Exactly. I don't really work with the writing skills, but someone said, how can I improve my writing skills? Um, one way, one way that you can improve your listening skills, like understanding skills and writing is it's kind of cool actually. I just thought of this. You can listen to a YouTube video. While you're listening, you can type out what you hear. Then you can look at the transcript on YouTube and you can copy it and you say to ChatGPT, you say, here's the transcript, copy, paste. And then after you say, here's what I thought I understood, or here's my transcription, copy. You already typed it, so you copy and paste it. And then at the end, you say, tell me what I I wrote wrong or that I misunderstood. That's a good way to test your comprehension and test your writing. Or you can even say, if you're worried about spelling, you can say, tell me what I've misspelled, right? Tell me which prepositions I messed up. right? Depending on what your goal is, right? Um, you talk similar English. What do you mean? Talk similar English. Um, yes, I'm in Quebec. I'm in Quebec. Do you like to read? So, do you like to read books? Yes, I like listening to books. I'm really into audiobooks. Hello, I'm from Brazil. We say Brazil because we have the L, we say the L, but I know people from Brazil say Brazil. So you're from Brazil. Cool. A lot of people from Brazil here. I'm new here. What do you make your live video? When do you do your live? Could we do lives? Um, I normally do it every Monday, but yesterday was a holiday. It's Labor Day. Usually I do it every Monday, but I'm going to start doing it at different times. I might start doing it every day. If you follow my YouTube, usually it will promote it before I do it. Okay. I like these. I really like these questions. Lexi, I'm going to answer your question. And this is what I talked about a while ago. Um, there's one word in here that I think Americans might have a couple different ways of pronouncing it. I'm going to share with you how I personally pronounce it. Okay. I'm going to get some nice markers here. Okay. How do you pronounce these two words? This is the word that I think Americans might actually, some of them might pronounce differently. I say ah, like bought. I think there's some Americans that might say that, or something like that. Okay. I'm not gonna try to get you to repeat after me because I haven't mastered the other pronunciation and I don't really want to. So we have oh, boat, ah, bought, bought, boat. I bought a boat, bought, boat. Ah, ah, oh, oh, ah, oh, ah. That's a good way to practice. Step one is to hear the difference. Step two is to pronounce the difference and learn how to pronounce it. And then three is to make it a part of your regular vocabulary, your accent, make it a habit. So if you say they sound the same, it's just a question of developing that ear to hear the difference. But oh, ah, ah, oh. I'm going to do a sentence here. And by the way, this is about 1 hour and 28 minutes of my YouTube. So if you want to listen to this again and practice on my YouTube channel, it's going to be the live that was today, and it's going to be 1 hour and 28 minutes into the live. Now I'm going to do some connected speech with I bought a boat. I want you guys to see what this looks like. Okay. I bought a boat. Okay. Um, you might not always let the T kind of be pronounced. Like I could say boat and I could say boat. I could say bought and I could say bought. Okay. But in connected speech, because it's ba before the T and another vowel sound after, this is going to turn into a fast D, which is a flap T. So I bought a boat turns into I bought a boat. I bought a boat. Again, this is connected speech. I have a connected speech secrets course that I'm going to be launching soon. If you're interested, link in bio, link in the description. You can be part of the founding members if you want. I bought a boat. I bought a boat. I bought a boat. So that's a good way to practice it. Bought, boat. I'm hoping that helps. I don't know how to speak. I don't know how you, I don't know how do you say that in English. Okay, thank you. I'm glad you like my accent. My reading and writing are very good, but when I need to talk, my brain can't think fast. That's a very normal problem, issue. And that's just a question of practice. So if you do not do that often, like practice and converse in English, uh, you might have to think, what was I going to say? But the more you practice, the easier it gets, right? You take online classes. I do. Yes, I give. I give online classes, one-on-one classes. Okay. I hear someone saying, answer me. I don't really know if you said anything before. I don't see it. And I say, bonjour, bonjour. Do you teach English every live? I work on accent, like accent, pronunciation, English stuff like that every live. Yeah. If you have English practice every single day, you will get an excellent English level. Nivel is English. Yes, it's true. If you practice every day, your English level will improve. Your English level. Nivel is English. Thank you, Jess. You're very welcome. Sorry to interrupt, but I love your shirt. Thank you. It's really kind. What's the cost? I'm gonna say check the cost. The cost of the connected speech secrets course or one-on-one. Both can change. So I will say check my website, American Accent Training with Jess.com. So if you scroll down, it'll say accent training. That's more expensive. Conversation feedback, and check it out, and the course. It depends. I have packages too, so it's less expensive for like packages if people want to see me multiple times. Oops. Okay, I'm at the very bottom. Cool. Oh, shoot. I just sent an invitation. I don't know what I just did. I'm a little bit scared. I would like to join your class. Check out my website, American Accent Training with Jess.com. So hi, I got another person here. Level, you're right. That's okay. It's perfect. I make a lot of mistakes in Spanish, even French. Cool. I think I'm gonna end this. I think if I don't have any more questions, it's been an hour and a half, which is pretty impressive. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, if you want to know my top tips because you want to accelerate your accent reduction journey and start making lasting changes in your accent, comment top tips, and I will send you my free guide with 5 of my top accent reduction tips. All right, so I'm going to end my YouTube. If you guys are watching this, eventually, once it's processed, you'll be able to click on this video here and or playlist and continue your English learning journey. Take care, guys. And if you have a question, check out my email. And there are ways that you can submit a question before my live if you have a question for me. So check your emails, join my email list, and take care.